What's up guys, welcome back to my channel Anime Fiction. I'm back with a new episode of What If Naruto Was the Emperor of DC Universe Part 14. And if you did enjoy this video, give this video a like, and if you're new to my channel and like my content, subscribe and hit the notification bell for more crossover fictions. Now let's begin this new video.
Chapter 41. The Justice League convened to confirm the future as Naruto was chatting to others. They couldn't resist making such a move since they were ready to make a crucial choice. They had all assembled and were waiting for Flash to acquire the information. Flash traveled 5 years into the future on the cosmic treadmill, and it exceeded his expectations. He was floating in space with nothing around him. There were no planets, nor was there a sun. What am I doing? Flash thought, wondering if he was at the proper area or whether anything had gone wrong with the equipment. He couldn't uncover any hints that the place was their solar system. After some thought, Flash decided to roam about and see if he could locate home planet.
Flash ran from one location to the next until he arrived to Rimber. It was one of the planets he was aware about, and it was a haven for criminals. Regardless, it was plenty for him since he could finally get some information. I think I should speak to Green Lantern about space travel. It's dreadful traveling in the dark, Flash thought as he began collecting information and came upon bad news. The Earth and its solar system were vanished. It had happened 5 years before, and the man responsible was the Emperor. Before eating the whole solar system like his people, the Emperor slaughtered all heroes and villains on the planet. He was a parasitic race that absorbed the life power from planets and stars. As if that wasn't enough, these monsters both strengthened and killed individuals. These beings would empower everyone on a planet before killing them and consuming the planet's life essence. These animals did not receive the experience, talents, and powers of all beings that perished on the planet for whatever cruel reason.
Emperor had made mankind and superhumans stronger, and if he hadn't been detected, he would have fattened them much more. It resulted in a combat, and he defeated everyone early. In the present day, Flash discovered that Emperor was preparing to wage war against the Green Lanterns on his home world, while his small demons were rampaging throughout the cosmos. Emperor had offspring with some of the women from Earth, and those children, like their evil father, were destroying other solar systems. He had children with Wonder Woman, Troya, Hawkgirl, Mara, Raven, Supergirl, Power Girl, and Starfire. Flash knew those ladies would never agree to such a thing, so he coerced them and murdered them after they gave birth.
The information from the future was terrifying, and Flash was concerned that it might hasten their destruction. The fact that Emperor was able to destroy the planet proved that he was too powerful for them.
Barry was afraid and moved at breakneck pace to clear his thoughts and think. He needed to figure out how to win.
What was the Otsutsuki's weakness? Flash deliberated and decided to discover the beast's weaknesses. He reasoned that they had to have one. He tried seeking for it but just made himself feel worse. The animals possessed no flaws. They mostly used energy strikes, but it didn't imply they were physically weak. Emperor was one of the strongest members of the species, capable of replicating anything with a single look. That is, he was aware of all the Earth animals' abilities.
I'll delegate this to Batman. It is outside of my area of expertise. Flash couldn't come up with a solution and decided to return and notify the others.
Everything was bleak, and everything pointed to Emperor. However, it was the polar opposite of what Emperor did in the regular time frame. Flash had no idea that someone would attempt to con him in the future, and he was duped by a trickster. Vindicativx, the trickster from the fifth dimension, was his name. Lord Vindicativx was one of the Queen of Brr's 3 offspring. He was taken away to become a court magician when his mother died, and he was praised for his precise and very logical feats. When the monarch chose Mizipedielk's more chaotic and fantastical style over these, and even worse, when this won the princess's love, Vindicativx went insane with jealousy.
The imp broke into a weapons storage facility and grabbed a collection of weapons, including the Nothing Coat, the Imaginator, and the million-pointed multi-spear.
He lashed out in the middle of the night at a form sporting Mizipedielk's distinctive hat, but he hit the incorrect guy and killed the king. Vindicativx, who had horrific scarring on his left arm, worked quickly to conceal his crime, first by disposing of the witnesses, putting Mixyezpetlik in a glass coffin and forcing Nixliegspedielens into exile, and then by attempting to dispose of the evidence, namely Mizipedielk's stories of costumed champions and his prize trick, Superman. The trickster's objective was to use the Emperor to eliminate Superman, and in order for that plan to work, he misrepresented the data that Flash obtained. But that wasn't the end of it. The malicious trickster delivered a person to the regular timeline, a character who would put greater doubt on Emperor and lead to a disastrous conflict.
See. Mxyzptlk, it's quite simple to get rid of your favorite toy, whispered the trickster as he led individuals in the past to become easily dubious and suspicious. The Emperor was too charming, so the trickster had to step in even more. Returning to the present, Flash briefed the team of his results, which no one anticipated. It would never have made sense otherwise, but knowing his kind, it did. He was an Otsutsuki, and Green Lantern provided a detailed description of their adventures across the cosmos, none of which were favorable. These were pure nasty monsters. That is, there was no way Emperor could be excellent. He was only fooling around with them. It was difficult for them to get their heads around that truth, particularly Superman. But not even he could muster a credible justification.
They chose not to assault, though. The news was horrible, yet it was possible that it was incorrect. Batman proposed the notion because he thought it seemed too perfect. It was absurd and out of character for the Emperor to spread his horrible actions across the universe. Nonetheless, Batman was prepared with countermeasures for Emperor. Batman and Superman have constructed devices to disrupt and absorb energy using alien technology. However, it was not the primary mode of warfare. Because Emperor couldn't be battled with a single ability, Batman devised a technique to give Superman all of their talents.
With everything on the table, the Justice League was cautious but not depressed. The Emperor information might be wrong, but the solar system did go. As a result, they needed to avert that future. The future was bleak, and it was going to grow much worse for everyone. If Flash had glanced to the side, he would have discovered that Krypton had returned as the universe's new threat.
And it all began with the present date. An unknown stranger arrived at the Suicide Squad's hidden facility and kidnapped General Zod. He emerged and then vanished like a ghost. Following that, the same individual arrived at the Fortress of Solitude and stole a valuable relic without raising the alarm. Once doing his task, the male Kryptonian vanished once the stronghold identified him as its own. The figure was known as Hell, and he was Superman's older brother. Hell was a Kryptonian survivor on a quest to protect Krypton's heritage in whatever manner he could, no matter how brutal. He would have emerged openly on Earth, but his understanding of the world caused him to hesitate, and he chose the cautious route. He stole the device containing all Kryptonians' memories and intended to resuscitate all of his people by reconstructing their bodies and implanting the memories into their bodies. He'd even discovered a new planet to live on. He did, however, want his people to live differently this time. He had traveled the globe and concluded that the lesser species did not deserve such liberties. Kryptonians deserved to govern the universe rather than being confined to a planet or solar system that degraded them.
They intended to exact vengeance on all entities participating in the terrible game, and they intended to control the planet.
To return to Naruto, he was meeting with the Young Justice. Youthful Justice was a group of youthful superheroes and sidekicks that battled crime independently of their adult counterparts. The Justice League created it for their young kids to communicate with others and work on little chores. The squad had numerous members and had grown since its inception, albeit some members had departed. Aqualad, Aquaman's protege, headed the crew, which was stationed on a secret island. The team consisted of people from varied backgrounds and was incredibly successful. The members were strong, and some of them had superhuman talents. Impulse, Aqualad, Artemis, Miss Martian, Red Robin, Static, Spoiler, Moon Maiden, Empress, Lagoon Boy, Amethyst, Ginny Hex, Aquagirl, Sideways, Slowbo, The Ray, Secret, and Miguel Montez comprised the squad.
Naruto was particularly taken by Dial H, Secret, Sideways, and Impulse.
Impulse was a member of the Flash family from the future. He came from a future in which a member of the Flash family married a member of the Zoom family. Zoom learned about it and planned to murder the youngster. Impulse was born with the abilities and was aging quickly, which meant he would have perished within a few years. Since his parents perished to Zoom, his grandma decided to rescue him and bring him back to the past where Flash could help him manage his talents. Naruto was curious about the future, even though it wasn't much because Bart was only a youngster. Dial H had Naruto's undivided focus apart from the future since he could compete with everyone on the world and the universe. The adolescent had the capacity to summon all heroes, fictional or non-fictional, for assistance. Once the request was made, Miguel would be taken to the Heroverse, where another hero would do the assignment in his stead.
It may even be someone who is still living, implying that it could summon Emperor from the future. Because the Heroverse lived beyond the usual universe, it was not constrained by time or space.
Such strength was surprising to Naruto. Dial H had been one of the most disturbing parts of the new existence, having grown in strength from the beginning. Dial H was almost unstoppable with such strength at his disposal. However, there was a significant flaw. Miguel may have been killed with a gunshot before he used the dial. Nonetheless, Naruto had copied the ability as well, but he was unwilling to utilize it. He didn't want or like someone taking his place. Then there was Sideways, who has the ability to traverse across dimensions. He has the ability to create rifts and teleport anyplace. The young guy could even fight using the rifts, which could rip through anything. Naruto benefited significantly from replicating these talents since they improved his spatial manipulation and gave him complete freedom.
Finally, there was Secret, a ghost-like girl with the capacity to store individuals in a pocket realm inside her body. She could harass and emotionally shatter anyone within the pocket dimension. The tiny realm was as dark as the abyss, with no light or hope. This technique was also duplicated, allowing Naruto to improve his scare tactics. Back on track, Naruto arrived on the beach and was met by Moon Maiden. He told her he'd be there and that this time they'd speak to her new squad of buddies.
They had grown closer over the previous month, and Serenity had recognized Naruto as the emperor who would govern mankind. She was the compass pointing to a brighter future, and she had embraced her job as counselor. Serenity had learned a lot about the world and how a nation functioned throughout the month. Her instructors had educated her well, but she wanted to refresh her knowledge and improve her comprehension.
Naruto would chat to her about complicated things whenever they met, and they would discuss for hours before resting. He had stolen her heart in a single month. Serenity was hesitant to fall in love with someone older than her since Naruto seemed to be in his 40s, if not thousands of years old.
It seemed like a crush without a chance, but she still attempted to grab his attention since she didn't want to have any regrets and couldn't display such vulnerability. She couldn't merely do what she knew she could do as humanity's guide. She also had to undertake something she knew she would fail at. She would constantly stay at her present level and never advance until she tried something new. That was contrary to her function as a mentor.
Thankfully, Naruto seemed to be interested in her as well. However, she discovered that he was not searching for a typical relationship. Serenity deliberated for a few days before deciding to accept it. Her professors were from the past, so she was familiar with the concept and understood why Naruto was doing it. It was tactical and vital for the universe's commander. It was a difficult decision for him and the ladies who accepted it, but Naruto made it acceptable.
Otherwise, everyone involved would have been depressed. Becoming Naruto's lovers proved to be her finest option, as she felt pure delight in his unadulterated love. Her days got brighter, and she found herself floating in a sea of optimism and overpowering devotion. She would never be able to reverse her decision, as he had said. You can never go back after you've chosen the Emperor. Serenity eventually realized this and realized she couldn't live without him.
Naruto hugged and kissed her before handing her a present. He constantly rewarded decent individuals, and those who were closest to him received greater perks. Serenity was unconcerned about the presents and preferred to remain in his arms. Walking hand in hand, Naruto discussed his day's events before arriving at the barbecue party organized by the staff. Serenity had persuaded them to speak to Naruto without notifying the grown-ups, and half of the squad appeared to agree without much persuasion. Naruto seemed to have garnered their favor without ever meeting them. Naruto arrived to the celebration and saw the squad seated on some logs chatting to one another. They all came to a halt when they spotted him. It was their first encounter with him, and it was a crucial one. Going behind the grown-ups added another layer of flavor. Impulse was the first to welcome him, and he did so in a cheerful and energetic way. Bart had a fast-paced life, was highly pleasant, and told many jokes. He even began by joking that Naruto may be slain one day by the several ladies who adored him. Dial H was another eager companion, since the young guy idolized heroes, with Superman being his favorite. Emperor was friendly with Superman and a hero, therefore he was in Miguel's good graces.
Red Robin was the only one who was unhappy about Naruto, since his emergence had caused Batman problems and further separated the family. However, Naruto did not allow any malevolent intents to deter him and welcomed everyone cheerfully. He even lavished them with presents before sitting down with them. He treated them the same as adults and gave them the respect they deserved.
Naruto appealed to them with his accomplishments and described all he was doing. To make matters worse, Naruto specifically targeted the team members. He spoke about how he was going to aid the Bat family. This aided him in approaching Red Robin and Spoiler.
Naruto solved Slobo's condition and helped his body mature to its full potential, earning his support. Slobo was an unsuccessful Lobo clone. Lobo was immortal, and clones could be created from a single drop of his blood. When Lobo was reduced to a blood smear on the ground, hundreds of clones were created, and they competed to become the true Lobo. Slobo, on the other hand, had been a failure and had fled. Secret assisted him in escaping the situation.
Not only did Slobo have a chibi physique and poorer numbers, but he was also dying and the League had been unable to heal him. The Atlanteans were up next, and they didn't mind Naruto since he had solved all of their issues. He had cleaned up the earth, and the waters were once again free of filth. Naruto mentioned the new planet he was providing his race, and they were all on board with the concept. They were all aware of the Atlanteans' disdain for the surface dwellers and their callous attitude toward other species. Secret was up next, and she was a young woman who was unsure of her position in the world. She was a ghost that was unable to live a regular existence. She had a crush on Red Robin, but the young guy was with Spoiler. It made her envious, and she even battled Spoiler about it. Nonetheless, she realized she was a ghost and that nothing could ever happen to her. She assisted the team, but Secret was sad and simply wanted to live a regular life. She didn't even mind losing all of her abilities.
Naruto boosted her abilities and gave her a fleshly body. It addressed all of her difficulties, and she could now touch and feel the actual world freely. It won her heart, as well as the hearts of others. Finally, he chose Miss Martian. Megan was a white Martian who was adopted as Martian Manhunter's niece. She had been on Earth, but her aggressive personality was revealed during the fighting. During her first confrontations, she almost killed and emotionally devastated numerous foes. Even today, she had difficulties holding back, which caused her teammates to dislike her.
Naruto hugged her and told her that he appreciated everything about her. He was aware of and appreciated her efforts. He was aware of her struggles. He offered her the acceptance she needed as well as a large gift. Naruto provided her mental blockages, causing her to be less violent and more normal. Naruto even displayed her realm form for others to see and assisted Megan in becoming welcomed by her pals. Because white Martians were a warlike race that would murder and enslave other species, seeing her true nature let them appreciate the anguish she would have undergone to act human.
Acting as a hero went against her genetic DNA. It would be weird if the heroes didn't give him a chance after all his deeds of charity. However, Naruto used Dial H to contact his future self and determine whether or not he was in the Heroverse.
It was something he had to say since Impulse hailed from a time when Naruto didn't exist. Bart knew nothing about Emperor, which was to be anticipated since he would have notified the Justice League by now. Naruto deduced from that response that Bart came from an alternate future in which he took a different route. He may not have opted to tamper with the alien world and instead preferred to remain hidden until returning home. It might possibly represent the future, when he was defeated by a great force before he could rise to power. There were several options, and the likelihood of Naruto's conquering success was really on the low side. Nonetheless, Dial H was persuaded to attempt to bring about the future emperor, but the operator informed him that such a request was not permitted. He wanted a legitimate request, not simply something to impress his pals. The operator also informed him that such a strong demon could only be summoned to the mortal world under severe circumstances. The request was denied, but it informed them that Emperor did exist in the Heroverse. It proved his excellent character even more and gave them reason to trust him. The Emperor's backing was agreed upon by the Young Justice team, who loved conversing with him over barbecue. Serenity discovered the additional functions after believing the clone couldn't eat. Naruto could now create flesh and blood clones by altering reality. Following the dinner, Naruto sparred with the whole team, and young Justice experienced discomfort. The Titans were the day's last recruiting pitch. It was the first superhero team comprised entirely of teens, and it remains one of the world's most powerful superhero teams today. Nightwing, Kid Flash, and Superboy were the original members of the team. Raven, Nightwing, Starfire, Cyborg, Beast Boy, Superboy, Wonder Girl, Silver Flash, Kid Flash, Blue Beetle, Arsenal, Terra, Red Devil, Little Barda, Power Boy, Molecule, Osiris, and Kid Eternity were among the newcomers.
Titans, like the other categories, were made up of very strong people. Raven was the group's strongest member and the most volatile entity on the planet. Her father planned to use her skills to gain entrance to the mortal world after being confined by the forces of order in another dimension, making her an exceedingly serious threat to the universe's survival. Trigon's abilities were unknown to Naruto and the rest of the world, but it was clear that he was almost unbeatable.
Regardless, Naruto was not about to murder Raven in order to solve the situation. He would never put others first or compromise his ideals for anything. A month of watching over Raven had also improved Naruto's magical talents. Other than Raven, Naruto learned about technology from Blue Beetle and Cyborg. Meanwhile, he gained the ability to effortlessly shift his size from Molecule. However, Kid Eternity was the only one who was genuinely dangerous after Raven. The young man was a representative of one of the Lords of Order, Sister Sentry, and he has the ability to call the spirit of anybody he pleased for 1 minute. The ghost might be imaginary or real. Unlike Dial H, Naruto could readily wield this ability and get assistance from strong beings. He had yet to call any very strong entity, though, since he did not want to anger anybody.
The Lords of Order were mystically powerful higher beings who represented order. During the Ninth Age of Magic, prior to the reality-altering events of Flashpoint, the Lords of Order operated as avatars of the notion of stagnation. They operated as a deterrent to the Lords of Chaos in their continual fight for global domination, devoting practically infinite power to strengthening mortal agents. The Lords of Order's nature evolved as a result of the reality-altering events of Flashpoint. Formerly a group of sorcerer kings, they found a source of raw magic strong enough to destroy their physical bodies but transformed into mystical creatures consisting of energy. They protected reality against the Lords of Chaos, fighting over how to manage the raw magic. Naruto had sent them a letter alerting them of his visit and its purpose. As a result, his presence was anticipated, and he was met on the tower's top by Raven and Kid Eternity. Naruto wasn't alone though, as he brought along Jason since Nightwing, like his father, was highly insistent.
When Raven and Kid Eternity saw Jason standing reverently alongside Emperor, they knew it was the genuine thing and that there was no mind trick going on. Jason was awake and not under control. It was their first encounter with him, and Raven could understand why Emperor was popular. His presence was calming to the soul, and he appeared to absorb the negativity in the air. Raven and Eternity were both quiet sorts that had difficulty trusting strangers, yet they both wanted to befriend him. "Good afternoon, my little friends. It is a pleasure to finally meet you in person, Raven, Eternity. Both of you are such wonderful people that it lightens my heart and strengthens my belief in the goodness of the heart. I am especially charmed by your presence, my beautiful lady. I hope we can have a productive meeting today." Naruto greeted them and even hugged them before passing them some gifts. He wasn't exaggerating about Raven. Her empath talents resonated with his own and heightened the feelings inside him. Her presence made him feel a lot better, and Raven felt the same way since she was inspired by his powerful energy. Raven was surprised by the increased beat of her heart when she heard his remarks. His presence seemed to drive back the darkness inside her spirit. The symphony formed by their empathic abilities eased her soul, which was a conduit for her father, who embodied the darkness of the cosmos and everything evil inside the inhabitants of Azareth. It was the first time in her life that she had met someone with such a pure heart filled with love for all creatures. Raven wanted he could sit down with him and forget about it all because the respect, the care, everything was so pleasant. Raven, on the other hand, snapped out of it and didn't allow it alter her thinking. She knew he was a wonderful guy, and she needed to take him to the conference room. "Thank you for the compliment, Emperor. I also think your heart is a beautiful thing, Raven said calmly as she nodded to Jason and opened a gateway for them. Eternity was taken aback by her statements since he hadn't heard anything like that from anybody else. He wished he could ask Sister Serenity for confirmation. He felt helpless without the Lords of Orders replying to him at such a crucial moment. He didn't know what was happening, but he hadn't heard from them in over a month, and Dr. Fate had vanished.
I am very happy to hear that, Raven. I am here to help everyone, so you can also put down your worries. Your father will be a memory of the past soon, but before that, I will clear your connection with him. Naruto grinned at her words, and his armor vanished, revealing his true form. It was unexpected, but it made sense why Emperor had been employing a different character.
His remarks, though, were the most surprising, nearly causing Raven to stumble. She turned around to face him. Are you certain you can handle this serious subject? Of course, I wouldn't mention it if I wasn't capable of doing it. All I need is your trust for it to work, as I would need to touch your soul. Naruto stepped closer to her and held her hand while demonstrating his ability. His remarks provided her with much-needed optimism. She had been plagued by his call every day since escaping her father's clutches, and nothing could be done to force it out since it emanated from the soul. Every day, she meditated and calmed her spirit, pushing back any emotions so her father couldn't use them. Every time she became upset, her father took advantage of the opportunity to take her body, and it was lucky that her friends were able to assist her snap out of it. But how long can it go on? She was fed up with it all. She loved her pals and was terrified of causing them harm with her selfishness. She wanted to end it all. At the very least, her death would give the universe more time to deal with her father. But she didn't want to die either. She desired to reside with her buddies. She wanted to lead a regular life. We'll see after you finish your work. I'll need some assurance before we begin with something so volatile.
Oh, does that mean I have your support? I am honored. Naruto grinned as he glanced at the bracelets she was wearing. He gave them as a gift and amplified the energy inside them. Raven breathed a sigh of relief as her spiritual load was lifted.
Helping Raven wasn't a simple task, and even healing her soul was risky. At the time, defeating Trigon was impossible because he was even stronger than the Olympians. You have my support because I don't believe an evil heart can contain such pure affection for the world, and there is no evil desire in your heart. You are a pure selfless being, and though you do have a measure of pride, it doesn't seem to affect your actions. Your heart is filled with desire to help others, and your actions have shown that you think deeply for the people. Our actions have always been on the surface, but you went even further. She had expected to see a guy full of pride and arrogance, but the truth was quite the contrary. She was perplexed as to why he granted them a month. She was curious about how he was formed, what made him the way he was. How could a guy care so much for strangers when he was despised by them and targeted by them? Why didn't he have any ill will against them?
Raven was amazed by their initial encounter and the fact that she could communicate with him on such a deep level. She normally avoided establishing eye contact with others, but Naruto drew her in and provided her with what she needed. You have my support, Emperor. Your work has been impressive, and hearing Raven's words has made it easy for me to choose. Eternity also followed along and backed Raven. He trusted Raven since she had assisted him since his rebirth as a servant of order. He had an attraction to her, but it didn't seem to work out.
I am glad to hear that, and I hope your friends agree. Naruto hugged them while Jason rolled his eyes at the show. After they finished hugging, they all proceeded through the portal and into the conference room, where everyone was gathered.
Welcome to the Titan Tower, Emperor, Nightwing said, nearly chastising himself for not linking Gilgamesh to the Emperor. He had been humiliated by the creature's acting abilities. He knew better than to presume that a formidable beast like Emperor would not stoop to small-scale schemes.
Aside from that, when he met Jason, his words were stuck in his throat. Jason, is that you? Nightwing couldn't keep his emotions in check when he saw his younger brother figure alive and well. Seriously, don't cry like a woman. I am alive, and I am kinda happy to see you, Richard. Jason shook his head at the tearful face and stepped closer to him, hugging him.
You really need to loosen up, because it's been really hard on us, Nightwing said, smiling as he recalled Jason's sharp tongue. Even when he was terrified, he always appeared strong. I think I did, or I would have been filling you up with lead, Jason said, pointing at Naruto. It was their first time hearing Naruto's name. When Beast Boy heard the name, he said, "You are Japanese." He was a manga and anime enthusiast, and he watched movies from all over the globe to enhance his acting profession, so it was evident to him.
Even the others were intrigued since the name did not correspond to the look.
"No, I am an outsider. I came from another universe to escape a predicament. I would have laid low and focused on my training, but I don't compromise with my principles. So, I acted to curb the evil that I saw. I hope you understand why I didn't just tell the truth from the start." Naruto responded with a surprise truth bomb. It was something Naruto knew he needed to share since it would be dreadful if an opponent did. It also made him akin to some of the heroes in that he did not live a faultless life. His comments and background had a significant impact on them, just as he predicted. "You're like Raven. How's your world now? Is it okay without you?" Starfire was pleasant as usual and offered her thoughts. She was an extraterrestrial girl from another galaxy who had been through a dreadful period. She had been enslaved, deceived, subjected to experiments, and even sexually assaulted. Despite her pain, Starfire forgave the perpetrator and never showed signs of succumbing to despair.
Her passion and upbeat demeanor were also firsts for Naruto. Both of them were influenced by their connection through the soul method Naruto was employing to communicate with them. Raven agreed with Starfire to some extent. It was comparable, but not identical. "It's also similar to your situation, Corey. Did you forget about your warmongering sister?" Silver Flash said, recalling the circumstances on her home planet. "Oh yeah. I almost forgot about that," Starfire said with a smile. She didn't take things too seriously and was more concerned with others than with herself.
"I don't know the state of my world, but I believe it is fine. My enemy isn't someone who wants to ravage it, but someone who wants to conquer it. We have similar goals, but our methods differ greatly. He is someone who is ruled by his pride, and if it weren't for his aggressive attitude, he would have been the savior of my world," Naruto replied while showing them visions of Madara known throughout the ninja world. It provided the squad a solid picture of Naruto's adversary, but they thought he wasn't powerful enough to pose a problem.
"Why now?" Nightwing questioned calmly. "From my analysis, you are a calculative person, so was this reveal to gain emotional points or was there another purpose?" Jason gave him the look.
"Additionally, you had countless opportunities to reveal the truth over the last week. Why didn't you do it? Also, your enemy appears to be too weak to be a problem," Cyborg added, showing countless clips of Naruto's interviews over the last week and analyzing Madara's battle power based on what he saw. "Why don't you just let Nightwing take the lead?" Wonder Girl slapped his back and spoke to him as if he were an idiot. "He also said he was training and his enemy was old. It shouldn't take a genius to understand that the enemy can also grow in power like him. Girl, you need to stop looking at things with your muscle brain. I deal with facts and data. I need clear answers. I can't wrap my head around how the enemy is a threat to the Emperor. The Emperor is a threat to all of us, and I could take down his nemesis. Does that make any sense? How old is he? How old is this data? How old is the age gap between you and him? How long have you been in our world? Can he locate our world?"
"Now that makes sense. You should have started with that," Superboy said as he backed up his girlfriend and smirked. Simp. Naruto didn't mind their inquisitiveness and appreciated the amicable environment. He asked them to have a seat since they were all standing and had forgotten about it because of the issue.
"I didn't intend to reveal anything until I was finished. I wanted everyone to see my work after I had taken control before revealing the truth of my origin because, as you said, I am a calculated person, and I didn't want to take a risk.
Nonetheless, I feel it is better to lie than to create panic. Otherwise, I would have informed everyone about the end of the multiverse and the end of our solar system. My entire life seems to be at stake, therefore I want to concentrate on the present goal and win you over to prevent such a future. My opponent's feats are more than 100 years old, and my increase in power occurred within a month of collecting modern knowledge from your world, so it shouldn't be impossible for my nemesis to gain that specific understanding." Naruto revealed to them the knowledge he gained from Gia and the information he obtained from Donna.
The comments were unexpected and stunned everyone for a minute as they adjusted to what he had just spoken.
The squad was amazed by his nonchalant appearance while discussing his certain demise, and Raven verified that he wasn't lying. Sheesh, dude, you've got a way of crushing the chill atmosphere. Why couldn't you have kept it to yourself for the first meeting? We could have all lived in Ponyland for a while instead of worrying about our lives again. Beast Boy couldn't help but interject as he placed his hands on his head, acting forlorn. Ignoring BB. Please cover one that thing at a time. How does our planet get destroyed? Nightwing said, as everyone listened intently. I'm sorry to disappoint you, but I don't know. Maybe it's because of a fight between us, this Emperor, and the people of Earth. I came to that conclusion because someone appears to be actively trying to make me look like an enemy of the world. This information is already in the hands of the Justice League through time travel, but it is false. What they got from the future is that I am responsible for killing everyone on the planet and devouring the solar system. That is such poor writing, and they would have to be insane to believe it. If I truly wanted to devour the planet and kill everyone, I wouldn't need to discuss or recruit people. Instead, I could have killed all super beings on the planet and then made ordinary people super strong before devouring them.
Also, I don't have the capacity to consume a planet's life energy. I am the Gaia's chosen one, and she would never allow a parasite to have the title.
For a second, why would they think you devoured life? They think I'm an Otsutsuki. That's not really the case. The truth is that my world is one of the places that Otsutsuki visited and almost devoured. My ancestor is the son of one of the Otsutsuki who seemed to have turned good for a time. My blood was extremely diluted over thousands of years, so there's barely any connection. However, I ended up collecting DNA across the planet too. For a few while, everyone was silent as they processed the information, while Naruto cast a look towards Osiris and his pet crocodile. The creature began writhing in anguish as he pointed towards the crocodile. That creature was an enemy. You really need to double-check no matter how harmless something appears. Naruto responded before they could create a mess by showing them the monster's memories.
Osiris had a shudder go down his spine as he realized the monster had been living with the Black Adam family for some time and looked to be seeking for an opportunity to kill. He'd been sleeping in the same room with this creature. If there had been a single weak place, he may have been slain. Please notify us before causing a heart attack. Sudden attacks are bad for my health, Wally grumbled as he took a big breath. He'd practically gone into overdrive, attacking Naruto while expecting to be beaten.
Noted, I don't like that smile. I can see right through you, you enjoy such evil acts, Beast Boy said as he saw the grin. It reminded him of Raven saying something and then doing the opposite. They were such terrible beings.
Impressive, you have seen the truth. Naruto could not dispute it, and the team realized they had discovered something new about him.
Regardless of your bad habits, thank you for your assistance. The information you have revealed to us is very heavy and requires time to analyze.
It could be the truth and you are trying to manipulate us, or it could be false. None of us know, because we can't just assume your inner workings. Regardless of your bad habits, thank you for your assistance. The information you have revealed to us is very heavy and requires time to analyze. It could be the truth and you are trying to manipulate us, or it could be false. As a result, he wanted to believe in Naruto. Regardless, he didn't want to make a hasty choice and behave foolishly. I understand, and I don't mind. This is how it should be, so take your time. I will excuse myself for now and wait for your call, or you can visit Jupiter and find me there. Goodbye, my little friends, Naruto said as he walked away, leaving the team to reflect on what they had learned. They all appeared to admire Naruto, so it was only a matter of time until they joined him. However, reality was not what it seemed to be. Naruto was accomplishing practically everything right, yet all of his actions were against creatures like him.
He didn't consider what entities above him were thinking. It didn't occur to him how they might behave. And it was at this moment that his problems began. He had forgotten that there were whimsical entities in the cosmos with the ability to alter reality.
VindicativeX was observing the cosmos as if it were an anime starring Naruto. He intended to incorporate Naruto in his schemes and needed to know what Naruto was up to. VYN rewrote the scene's finale to show that the Titans were wary of Naruto and did not fall for his charms. He also arranged it such that Naruto's gift to Raven progressively poisoned her psyche rather than curing it. This is just too easy, MXY. It would have been fun to see you compete against me, so I could have demonstrated my superiority, but you are dead, and I must be content with a one-player game. Naruto was pleased with the findings after completing the day's recruiting. He was certain that everything would work out in his favor, one way or another. The major issue was the shattered future, which was incredibly concerning, thus Naruto had been contemplating the reason. Why did the world end if all his steps were immaculate and none of the heroes were so careless? Who was circulating rumors about him even in the future? Who knew all there was to know about him? Was it a member of the Otsutsuki? Was it a member of Olympus? What do you think, Mother Gia? Who might be behind such a stunt? While traveling towards the Kent farm, Naruto conferred with his most senior advisor and supporter. There are several suspects. Kronos is capable of replicating such an event.
Zeus might be to blame as well, but these two aren't interested in blaming you. Darkseid is another possible possibility. Maybe he has already shut down on you and does not want you to develop. It might also be a member of the underworld, such as Lilith or Satanus. And, if we want to go all the way, there is the great darkness. Your root is the enlightening light that does not compromise with evil and does not allow its existence, as such the vast darkness may have taken note of your acts. Gia said as a tiny charming fairy sitting on Naruto's shoulder. Such suspicions are very terrifying for ordinary people. You are fortunate that I am positive. That is why I mentioned them. Otherwise, I would have been more cautious with my remarks. Thank you for your vote of confidence, but how can we solve this problem? I am not physically capable of competing with these players. Will that future be halted if I back down for a while? No, it will not. But, at the time, I don't have any answers. We'll have to keep our eyes peeled for the solution. Gia was annoyed that she couldn't provide a single proposal or plan of action. She had remained dormant from the beginning of her life, and it had cost her everything. Now she wanted to act, but she was discovering the difficulties of acting on her own. Don't blame yourself since this isn't your fault. This is an unusual circumstance for both of us, so all we can do is learn and adapt. Naruto rubbed her small head and encouraged her. Even though she was exceedingly old and intelligent, the negativity would sometimes overwhelm her heart. The agony and bad ideas had no regard for your age, they struck everyone equally. Thank you, youngster. It has been a joy chatting with you. You are the only one of my children who has showed me such compassion and affection. They always appeared to think that I was strong enough or that I didn't feel anything. Gia smiled at his comments and shared part of her grief with him. Even with all of her power, her existence was not joyous. It all began with her husband, Uranus, becoming insane as a result of the Great Darkness, and she later lost her kid to the same. It had become genetic in the family, and even Zeus suffered moments of insanity as a result. You are not required to thank me, Mother Gia. And maybe those brothers and sisters will grow to love you as much as I have. You are such a wonderful youngster, said Gia, who was overjoyed to hear those words. Naruto didn't have to do that, but he made the vow nonetheless. She flew up to his face and kissed him on the cheek. Gia had felt real mother love for the first time in her long life. Naruto arrived at his location after a few minutes that seemed like days due to his incredible speed. It was a quiet and pleasant apartment where his buddy Clark Kent and his wife resided. The basic exterior, however, concealed the multiple magical and high-tech protection measures defending the land and the whole town. It was clearly the outcome of the heroes learning from their failures and preparing for the worst-case scenario. It was late at night, and the Kents seemed to be enjoying a barbecue outdoors with a visitor. Naruto didn't disguise his presence and simply went onto the premises. I hope we don't end up fighting, Kara said worriedly as she landed near him. She had recognized her cousin and didn't want to attack him. She also didn't want to harm the Kents since they were such kind people. In addition, Naruto was her best buddy. No matter how she looked at it, the war would be awful. Believe your cousin. He won't start a battle unless we attack him. Now, please play your part correctly, and we can become best friends. You're right. I've never seen him attack first, but what about the bat? Kara said as they approached their targets and saw Bruce seated at the table. I already knew he was here, and he won't be a problem, Naruto informed her, dismissing her concerns. Good evening friends, I hope you don't mind my presence at such a late hour, Naruto said cheerfully and loudly. Ma and Pa Kent, along with Lois, had gone inside the home, leaving just Clark and Bruce.
Naruto, why are you here? Clark said before shifting his focus to Kara. He was taken aback by her presence. Isn't it obvious? I'm here to talk to you about our cooperation. I know about the future that our Flash saw, so I'm here to discuss it. Hopefully, you didn't believe such nonsense. Naruto approached him and hugged him. Good evening, Naruto. It is a pleasure making your acquaintance, hopefully in person this time. Would you be so kind as to tell us how you found out about it? Bruce stepped by Clark and inquired calmly, a business grin on his lips. I was the one who informed him, little one. I am his mother, Gia. I believe that should inform you of the impossibility of that false information. Gia perched on Naruto's head, and the others only realized who the adorable little fairy was after her comments. That knowledge, as she said, would directly contradict what transpired in the future. Gia would never support someone who ate planets. But there was one fault. How do we know you're real? Bruce said fearlessly, refusing to back down in the face of such a strong force.
Naruto admired his bravery and tenacity since he admired such individuals. How will you confirm her words? Do you have a method in mind? I don't think you'd believe it even if the entire Olympus confirmed it. Naruto was beginning to realize that even establishing your identity may be tough. He had never imagined it could happen, yet he could see other entities imitating him. You don't have to go that far. Our friend has vouched for her. Clark came to a halt when he received the information from Swamp Thing. As the individual was linked to the green, it was their best chance for verifying it. She is a forgery. The genuine one, along with the other immortals, has been imprisoned, Swamp Thing informed Bruce and Clark. This arose as a result of the imp's constant surveillance of Naruto, allowing him to always correct any mistakes. He was sure that Naruto was seen as a villain by the heroes. After that, he escorted his visitor to the chairs and sat with them. Clark realized Naruto wasn't going to fight them and that they were in a delicate situation, so he didn't start anything. Instead, Bruce and Clark chose to play along and converse with Naruto. Are we good now, or are you still thinking of me as an enemy? Naruto said as he sat down. He thought the pair were cool with him and that there was no problem. There is no such thing as complete assurance because anything can happen, Bruce said. How about we discuss your plans in detail? If possible, I would love to hear your background and why you chose this path. He wanted to speak about it since he wasn't sure where Naruto stood. Unlike the others, he was not readily persuaded and would continue to probe until he ran out of questions. That was the plan for tonight. I wanted to hear from the best, and you two are certainly deserving of that title, especially since I promised my little friends that I would help you understand and heal your trauma. Clark and Bruce hadn't anticipated Naruto to reveal himself since he was usually so evasive.
It was clear that he saw an issue and made steps to address it. The information he was providing them may be true or false. It was difficult to confirm. However, knowing the specifics of his intentions and vision would assist them better grasp his personality. The more you spoke, the more you slipped and made blunders. No matter how committed someone was to a play, they couldn't stand up to the duo's examination.
Naruto didn't conceal anything about his upbringing and was open about it. He began with his birth and worked his way up to the present day. He even informed them about his abilities, but not in great detail since it would be a bad idea. Hearing his backstory, it was evident why he chose this route and appeared to know so much at such a young age. They spoke all night and not once did they notice him skipping a beat. He was kind and passionate. He had feelings for all creatures and was extremely clear about what he loathed. He made no distinctions and even ignored the atrocities of his own family. All of his future ideas were fantastic and thorough, yet some details were lacking. But such details could be addressed later, and the overall result would be flawless. His logic could not be ignored since the pair was aware of the kind of entities that existed in the cosmos and how precarious their existence was.
They'd all had the same thoughts, taking safeguards against the strong dangers. However, unlike them, Naruto opted to share that duty with everyone and not place it solely on his shoulders. Giving everyone abilities was a bad notion, according to the heroes, since it would increase crime and threats. However, it was apparent that strong guardians would be formed as a result of the action. Naruto had previously considered the issues connected with sharing power with everyone, so he devised a way to ensure that such behaviors were restrained. There would be several obstacles surrounding the zone, and the system would keep individuals on the proper track. Good actions would also be promoted and rewarded, whilst negative deeds would make the person's life miserable. It would be a system that forced individuals to follow in the footsteps of saints. Hearing the system's specifications, the pair couldn't help but agree that it was a brilliant concept. It was an idea Naruto had while talking with Jiraiya, and it was never truly realistic in his perspective since he would require power to change reality. He was lucky to have such power today.
Naruto even said that he didn't mind dying and only wanted to build the groundwork for a brighter world. Clark felt conflicted after such a lengthy debate. He was really confused about the situation, particularly because he could see Kara warming up to Naruto. There was nothing wrong with his behavior or manners. The only issue was the information they were getting. "Is this your purpose in life?" Bruce questioned him one more time, and he realized Naruto was similar to him in several ways. For the sake of his objective, the young emperor was prepared to give up everything, even personal freedom and happiness. "It is. I have pondered the topic countless times and I believe that it is the reason for my existence. I don't mind taking the lonely path if it is necessary for my goal. However, I will work to avoid such a depressing end. No one likes unhappy endings, especially not me. How about we finish your trial of unhappy thoughts?" Naruto replied in a calm tone while his eyes shone with the wisdom of centuries before returning to normal, and he sent.
Bruce was linked to Naruto and the whole Bat family. He could sense their feelings and thoughts. He also saw his parents in the domain of spirits, where they were all assembled. Bruce felt his bad thoughts leave his spirit and mind just by being there and connecting on such a deep level. While his negative thoughts were repressed, he felt exuberant and cheerful as he engaged with his parents.
He noticed the people's appreciation for Bruce Wayne, who had been assisting people all around the world with his great wealth. He also observed folks who were fans of Batman. He noticed the conflicted sentiments that many people had for him.
After a few seconds, the others vanished, leaving him alone with Naruto in the white emptiness.
"It is a wonderful thing that you held yourself to a standard and avoided taking the law into your hands, but the world is not a perfect place. Your will is eternal, Bruce. You need not fear the idea of losing control.
You are not some nobody, you are Batman. And, if you still feel the fear, then trust your friends. They will always keep you in check and support you.
Regardless, soon you can legally take such actions if we have such a situation in our territory. However, we will avoid such cases and make sure that people walk the right path. We can agree that people can be rehabilitated, though some of them might not have such capability.
I have already shown that I am willing to go out of my way to help people walk the proper path, when killing is the easy way out. People not having a second chance when I am in rule means that those people are not willing to change even when the society and everything around them facilitates the right path. Naruto wanted the person to change for the better as he deserved it. He deserved to be happy.
And to express his appreciation, Naruto bestowed upon him extraordinary abilities and the capacity to see into people's hearts. The risk will always exist, no matter who it is.
I know, that's why we have to believe in ourselves and others, otherwise, we won't be able to take the necessary steps.
But you don't want anything to challenge your power. How do you think someone will stop you? I said one-on-one. I don't mind a group of people rivaling me in power, Naruto said, despite Bruce's knowledge of what he had stated. The guy was continually testing him, and he wanted to validate what Naruto said about the aim once again.
Bruce saw that the adversary had planned everything to persuade him and bring him down. He wasn't completely convinced yet, but his reservations regarding Naruto had diminished. The guy exuded charm, and his actions spoke volumes about his vision and concern. I see your point, and I admit my fear and mistakes. Please send Jason to me, and I will talk to him. And I am happy that you believe I am worthy of such power. However, please remove it. I would like to think about it before taking such a step. That is all I wanted. I hope you can reach the proper conclusion, and I will always keep a seat open for you in my council. Naruto stepped closer to him and hugged him, expressing his thoughts and feelings.
Bruce found enjoyment in the simple act of exchanging opinions. He could understand why people took to him so quickly. It was difficult to despise the guy when he was filled with such thoughts and feelings. I'll keep that in mind, Bruce said, and everything went back to normal. Naruto had vanished along with Kara and Gia, leaving the couple alone.
Clark hadn't witnessed what had transpired, but he saw that Bruce seemed happy after the little pause. Naruto had also given him a present that might alleviate his concerns. His kid was born 4 months before conception. Even if the facts stated otherwise, the night looked to conclude on a positive tone as the couple leaned towards Naruto. Naruto also had a nice date with Power Girl and Huntress, which resulted in both of them getting hooked to him. It was also the first time in Naruto's and Power Girl's lives that someone maintained their endurance. Power Girl, on the other hand, succumbed to Naruto's skills due to her inexperience and lack of resistance. Naruto spent time with Kara and his squad to round up the evening. However, things could never be perfect when a fifth-dimensional imp like Naruto's wave of positive energy infected others with negative ideas about him. It's a good thing Batman was careful and not impetuous, because otherwise he might have been corrupted after gaining Naruto's abilities. To be continued.
That's it for this part, guys. Thanks for listening to this video. I hope you did enjoy the story, and if you did, like, share, and subscribe for more. And thank you all for happy support, and have a great day.